Now let's understand drawbacks of popularity based recommendation system. So popularity based recommendation is, of course, is very good recommendation system, very simple recommendation, I would say, because there are very few factors on which it tries to consider before recommending anything. And one is how popular the item is, and then how high rated the item is. Based on the combination of these two factors, the popularity and the rating, it starts recommending the items to the users, right? But there are a few drawbacks of it as well, and that's why we need some more sophisticated recommendation systems. What are these disadvantages or drawbacks? Let's try to understand. The first one is it lacks the personalization. So as we are saying that in the inventory we are going to we are having, let's say, 1000 items, and then uh, out of these 1000 items we are going to recommend top 10 items. Now these top 10 items are going to be one, highest voted. That means those items who are very hot selling or running very fast, and then second one is highest rated. So on the combination of these two only, we will be having top 10 or top 20 items out of our bucket. But once these recommendations are created, then again it is something which will be recommended again and again to the user. So there will be no personalization. Of course, with every platform or with every business, different users behave differently, and different users have different natures and liking and disliking. So if there are two users, Mr. A and Mr. B, both are different in their likings and disliking. Let's say we are working on a movie recommendation system. So in movie recommendation system, Mr. A likes comedy movies and Mr. B likes drama movie. But in our inventory, if we have 1000 movies, so whoever be the top 10 movies are, the same top 10 movies are going to be recommended to Mr. A and Mr. B both. And suppose these top 10 movies are by chance all are horror movies. If these all 10 are horror movies, then neither Mr. A is going to like these top 10 recommendation, or nor Mr. B is going to like these top 10 recommended movies. So in that case, our recommendation will not work. And that's the problem with this popularity based recommendation system. Though these 10 movies which has been listed on the top, they all are liked by most of the users who are visiting to the platform, but unfortunately not neither liked by Mr. A nor liked by Mr. B, because Mr. A and Mr. B has different likings and dislikings than the other users which are there on the platform. So that's why this recommendation system fails miserably in some cases. Other problem is the user will never be recommended for different items. So what will happen? Suppose Mr. A, I mean again, let's take another example where Mr. C, who likes horror movies. Okay, so Mr. C likes horror movies. Now our recommendation system works, and the top 10 movies which are listed on the platform are all 10 horror movies. And first time, of course, Mr. A are not going to Mr. A is not going to like the top 10 recommendation. Mr. B will also not going to like it is also not going to like the recommendation. But Mr. C, who is there, and Mr. C likes horror movies. So these top 10 recommendations are going to be suggested or recommended to Mr. C. Mr. C is going to like all these 10 movies, and after liking it, he is going to watch all the 10 movies. Now, once he has watched all the 10 movies, then maybe after a few more iteration, he is going to come again. And after going to, after some time, if he is going to come again the same 10 movies are going to be popped up in front of him. So even if Mr. C liked the recommendation, but once he seen or once he watched all the movies, ideally the recommendation must change. but they are not going to be changed because the top 10 movies are going to still be remain same. So every time Mr. C is going to log into the system, he is going to get every time same recommendation. And of course, if once the movies are watched by Mr. C, then he is going to be in need of some different set of recommendations which are not going to be recommended by this popularity based recommendation system, right? Then next item is, after some time user will start disengage from the recommendation as the system recommends same item again and again, right? So as Mr. C is getting as Mr. C is getting engaged on the first entry to your system, because the first time the 10 movies which are recommended to Mr. C, they were wonderful and as per the liking of Mr. C, so he get engaged at first go. But when he is going to come again and again, every time he is going to get the same recommendation, so he will start disengaging from the platform, and that is going to be a loss by this system. And then this may also get tremendously wrong if not defined carefully, and I have given very first example for Mr. A and Mr. B for the same. It may be tremendously wrong if not designed carefully. All right, so these were some of the drawbacks of popularity based recommendation system, and to overcome these all advantages, we have different recommendation system, which is content based recommendation and collaborative filtering, but that is going to be discussed in next section or another section. What we are going to do is, after this discussion, we are going to start coding popularity based recommendation system, see how popularity based recommendation system is implemented in Python, right? Thank you.